Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Empirical Training live stream. It's me, your host, here on my own to warm up the crowd. Nice to see some of you joining already. Familiar faces, I'm sure. If you're new, say hello. If you're old, say hello. Let us know you're here. If you've been here before, you know what we do. We do the Q&A, monthly Q&A. You can ask us, sorry, it's weekly actually, most weeks, not all of them. We got lives as well. You can ask us any questions you want about cybersecurity, whether that's personal questions of your own development, questions about our own experience, questions about things you've seen in the news, or questions with something that you're struggling. And thankfully, if I don't know the answer, I got AJ with me right here.
Oh, we've got ChatGPT.
Oh, and ChatGPT will give you the most mediocre answer you could possibly want, but still use it. It's a great starting point. It's like what you should do before you start Googling things. But if anyone copy and paste ChatGPT answers to you and tries to sell it to you,
Yeah,
bloody hell.
we noticed a lot of that in our communities, don't we? That we see people just copy and paste in ChatGPT. Make sure you read through all that stuff as well, because usually you need to be able to know the information to be able to prompt it, and AI is all about prompt engineering.
Yeah. Also, I think we now have been, ChatGPT's been around long enough, Copilot's been around long enough, and the Google one, forget its name, Gemini, that people can tell a mile off what a ChatGPT, what a generated AI answer is. And even to the point, I've been interviewing some people for roles and they even talk like AI. They answer everything with, I have 5 reasons why I'm the best at this, or why something, and they start rattling off one by one. And I had to think, hang on, is this guy got like a live streamed ChatGPT feed that's taking all my questions and spitting out answers?
Well, I feel like that's where it's probably going to go to, isn't it? It's just going to be like, you think you're doing an interview with the person, it's just an AI chatbot.
Yeah, have you seen people do that on TikTok and Instagram, where they like pretend, I don't know if they're doing it for real or if it's just a skit, they pretend to interview for like Deloitte or PwC.
Oh, really?
They're like gaming, doing like League of Legends on one screen, and then the ChatGPT just writes the answer and they just read it off while they're still gaming and carry on.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Is it just you and I today, AJ?
No, I think we're going to be joined by the other empirical trainers, but maybe we should have asked them that, actually.
Hey, Natasha.
No, they all said that they were going to make a cup of tea and then they were coming on. Hey, Natasha, hope you're doing well. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Big Rob in the house.
In the house. My lighting in my back's not too great, but
no, you always got the best lighting, I have to say. I don't know why you do it.
My parcel in the background.
It's better than the bed sheets drying on the door we had last week. Spooky though.
Oh, that was
added to the ambience.
The Halloween-esque.
Did in the chat the things disappearing for me? Are they disappearing for you?
What, the people who've commented?
Yeah.
No, I can see them. I can see Natasha's comment.
Yeah, I've got.
It's come back now.
I've got Natasha commenting on through YouTube.
Nice. Welcome, school community, and hopefully we'll catch a few other YouTube people passing by. A couple of weeks ago, we caught one of our former colleagues who saw our faces on his YouTube homepage and jumped in.
Well, really, that's cool. From the first company.
Natasha's, I had an interview assignment feedback asking if I plugged the questions into ChatGPT and just copy and pasted my answers. No, I'm methodical, lol. How upset are you that ChatGPT's stolen your style, Natasha? That's so unfair.
Yeah.
You were here way before them. You're a woman of science as well, right? So you probably have got like a really methodical approach to solving and answering things.
You know the link that you've put out into on the calendar in school, is that just the YouTube link, or is it the direct StreamYard link as well?
We've only got the YouTube link. Yes, that's the YouTube link, that is.
Hey, I can hear myself.
Oh, you're going full radio DJ mode.
I think my because I had that open the stream from earlier, so it just started in my ear. It takes a little bit of a delay, which is annoying for the people trying to watch it live and get the questions in.
Is that a beanie or is it a headscarf? What is it?
It's a skull cap. No, it's a beanie. I've been for a run before this. I didn't really have.
I was going to say, you're not putting the heating on.
It's actually quite cold in my house, and I'm trying my hardest not to put the heating on, because then I lose.
Yeah.
How long are you gonna last on that then?
Yeah.
Well,
It's gonna get Baltic soon.
Yeah, it feels like it's getting that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I went for a walk earlier. It was absolutely freezing. I don't think we'll be far behind.
I think London's warmer, to be fair, as well. You guys
pollution.
All that pollution.
pollution. They grow wine and champagne a little bit further south from me. Well, not champagne because you have to be in Champagne, but sparkling wine. Kent, the climate for the Champagne region has like moved north with the global warming and weather changes, and so now Kent has the exact same weather that the Champagne region does. So you're going to get some real high quality sparkling wines from there. Top tip if you want to save a bit of money.
Nice.
That's so random.
Yeah. But apparently Champagne is it's the measure of how much you like somebody or that you're celebrating something, because everyone knows it costs a bit of money. Which I thought was an interesting you made. Like, is that connection, right? If someone hands you Prosecco, even if it was like £100 bottle of Prosecco, you wouldn't value it as much as a £20 bottle of champagne, probably. That's excellent marketing they've created there.
It is a bit just the difference, Prosecco versus champagne. You just automatically think that champagne's expensive, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And if you're throwing an event for somebody, you want that person to know that you're celebrating them. You want the guests to know that you're celebrating and care, and you want them to know you spend a bit of money on it as well. And champagne is the easiest way to guarantee that, because no one's going to ask you how much you spent on the carver.
Yeah, that's
Day
right.
one, Dens. How you doing, son?
What's happening?
All right. Shall we have a little chat first, and then we'll get into podcasts, and maybe could even cover over some of the topics we've already covered. But chat, if there's anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, now's your chance. This is our live planning session, and also good bottle of wine is one that you like, whether it's £15 or £100. That is ultimate wisdom. There's actually a great £7 bottle in Sainsbury's I like.
I was just going to say, it doesn't really matter that we're talking about it with these two on the call, but my vote when we start the pod is no round table of introducing ourselves and who we are and what we do.
That's absolutely right. That's one of the things I'm cutting out to make it more snappy. You're going to say your names.
We're nearly on episode 50 now, so if they want to know what we do, just go back and listen, because that does actually take like a good 5 minutes or so, doesn't it?
10 minutes, yeah. So does anything interesting happen in work, or anything interesting been discussed in the school community that you think is worth us having a bit of a discussion live about?
There's a lot of no, it's nothing big, but Open AWS S3 buckets. Customers leaving them open. I know that you wouldn't have thought that they would be doing it these days, but that was a couple of things that we were working on this week.
Mm-hmm. Will that happen in your work as well?
It happened at work, yeah.
Oh, nice. Because we can definitely talk about that. But there's another thing that AWS shared a new CDK that was giving really standard names to them, really predictable ones. So there was also a bit of a risk that I shared in the school last week, I think.
Oh, do you see about the TD link botnet, Josh?
Yeah, make me worried about mine.
Yeah, I know. We've been onboarding a new customer at the moment, and one of my analysts told me that they saw login attempts from that botnet while we're going through onboarding.
This is great.
I haven't got much more information on it other than that, but
punchy. We can move on quickly.
Yeah, we
can
just make it up as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. For the listeners on the pod so far, we're trying to be a bit more concise with the podcast, from some like having a look at what we're doing and looking at some feedback. We sometimes talk too long, and we could probably give you the same amount of information and value in a shorter span of time. So we'll still stick around afterwards if you want to chat, but we're going to try and aim for a 20-30 minute podcast. And with 4 of us, that's not much talking each, and not much from me. Well, I do.
Yeah, could talk about the goal post that I did yesterday, touching on gaps in visibility. Don't know if it fits, but
Yeah.
could speak about that.
Okay, we'll go TP link, we'll go S3 bucket, and then we'll go visibility principles. And that will, because the visibility,
Sounds
you can
good.
do as much or as little, and the first two will just do whatever makes sense to this current.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. And feel free to, obviously, we still want to keep it personable. So feel free to still have a bit of banter or chats amongst each other, but rather than do a dedicated segment at the beginning, let's weave it in and then pull us back on course. Robbie, is that a pair of female lots of on your glass?
This look like some of them look like ball bags. But,
Did you draw that yourself?
I got eyes.
Josh,
yeah,
I thought
this
you
is
had
my.
If I finished the glass, I could turn it that way, maybe.
I feel left out without a brew.
Brew crew. You know, my nose is blocked.
Oh, it's also election day, isn't it, in the US?
Oh yeah. Should we talk about that?
Oh, I don't know. We could talk about voter hacking machines, but I think we need to be a bit more clued up. Maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to do research on that one before we talk about it.
Tense, but look at them titties, boy.
Lovely. Dens.
I can't breathe.
Okay, let me just pull up my post on this thing. Because lots of people have been talking about S3 buckets in the community, actually, I've noticed. This last week.
You're flickering like crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know, it's my phone, maybe. Ooh. It's the fireworks popping off here. Is that what's it like with you guys with fireworks?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, got loads. My cats love them.
They love them.
Yeah, they're mental. They're literally like the craziest animals I've ever met in my life. Fireworks started going off, and Honey's like literally running to the window and just watching, loving it, wagging her tail.
What the hell?
Most animals are
they're hiding,
diving for some shelter or something.
Yeah. Yeah, my dog's okay with them. She absolutely hated Halloween though. As soon as someone knocked the door, she was up in the window, like fuck them.
Yeah.
Rob and I talked last week. My partner's worried she got a black cat and she's worried someone would steal it on Halloween, which I thought that seems quite irrational. But okay, I won't let him out.
Do you think the witches were coming to steal the black cat?
I don't know. I don't know if she thought someone would think that'd be good in my Halloween party. Let me have him, or go with my
Is
outfit.
that a thing? Do black cats get nicked? Do they?
I've never heard of that. If anyone wants to do some research. Okay, should we go into it? I think we got a good plan.
Let's do it.
Reminds me of Phone Jacker. Yeah, I remember that. Is that still going? Phone Jacker. Is that Brian Dundee?
Yeah,
Hello.
What a ladder.
Or Terry Tibbs.
Terry Tibbs.
That's a great one. Right, gentlemen. Hello and welcome back to the CyberSpace podcast.
Remix.
We'll start rapping again, and Denz will start laughing his head off. No. Hello and welcome back to the CyberSpace podcast by Empirical Training. My name's Josh, and I'm joined with Andrew, Robbie, and Vaughan today to take you through the current cybersecurity topics. We picked out some key bits from the news, as well as, probably more importantly, our experience on the front lines in our cybersecurity roles as cybersecurity professionals, and the things that we've been talking about in our school community on school.com/secops. So, gentlemen, AJ, Vaughan, Robbie, I want to take us first into S3 buckets. So I know that these have been around for a while. Tale as old as time is people leaving a S3 bucket public. Anyone remember their first time they found one of those?
Yeah, I remember all of the alerts coming in. I think in the first place that we worked, were there alerts there then? We're up to publicly set to publicly available. And yeah, what's this? 2015? No, probably 2017. 2015, I think. Yeah.
We were seeing them manually, weren't we? In the log review team, I swear that was one of the saved views that we had for AWS.
There was two approaches. There was the kind of live alerts that were done pretty much as and when they happened, when someone had set it to open or public as that value, which meant anyone could access it. And the other one was looking at the last 24 hours of S3 bucket activity and looking if they'd sent, if I remember correctly, was that asterisk, wasn't it? Wildcard kind of fields you could assign to who would be able to access it in the IP ranges, which basically means somebody's being lazy and wants anybody to be able to access the S3 bucket because they can't be bothered to work out who should be allowed to access it.
And you also see the IP address as well of 0.0.0/0, which means it's open to the world, which is another lazy thing you can do as well.
Yeah. So why is that a problem, and why might people want to do it if they're devs and who aren't thinking about security?
I mean, we've hit the nail on the head, right? Trying to leave it open for access, whether it's traveling. I know I've experienced something at the moment where I'm doing some stuff on a server and I've only opened it up to one IP, and then for whatever reason I've reset my router at home and it's changed my IP address. So even that can add some minor inconvenience.
Yeah, can imagine now with people on the road as well. You don't know where people are going to be too. So yeah, I mean, VPNs they should be logging into, but you might just be like, "Oh, I'll open it broader than that." And so, what? Let's take us back a further step. What is an S3 bucket? Like, what are we even talking about, boys?
Well, an S3 bucket is a storage container in Amazon Web Services. Effectively storing images, basically whatever you want attached to your containers.
Are they categorized as objects in the S3 bucket?
Yeah, it can be called that. And then like in Azure, people are more familiar with Azure, there's the blob storage. So basically it's like freeform storage for stuff. And like web applications use it.
Cloud, right? Like a hard drive in the cloud, right?
That's a good way of describing it. Yeah. So if that's open to anybody, anyone can go and read what's in there. And what's the worst thing that could be in there? I mean, it ranges from personal identifiable information and a big old GDPR fine or whatever compliance standard is protecting that data, or secrets as well. That's a big one. We see people leaving a secret in an S3 bucket.
Yeah. Do you want to define what you mean by secrets, just in case people?
No, it's my secret.
People a note that they've written down that they don't want to do.
Yeah, it's gossip. It's them gossiping about the other devs. No, it's
be
secret
credentials. You never know.
There it is. Account credentials. It can be encryption keys. A secret is like a generic term for something that is used in some form of authentication or can get you in to see something that you're not supposed to see. It's supposed to be protected for a reason. That's why the password was put on it. And if anyone can grab the password, what's the point in the password in the first place? So we see that a lot in S3 buckets. We've also seen that in the last few weeks in Android apps. There were a few Android apps that have had them stored in clear text as well. So people grabbing those, then using those secrets to authenticate into the cloud environments and read the source code and steal more bits as well. But you might be thinking, why are we talking about S3 buckets? That's S3 buckets. When we started this conversation talking about 2015, when we first started analyzing those things together. But this month, last 2 weeks, there was an interesting article about S3 bucket name squatting and sniping. So to be fair to Amazon, they have understood that, hey, making these public is not a good thing. Everyone's adults. We want to let them do what they want to do. So they actually, as standard now, they put it to private, and you have to enable it as public. In the past, could be public as at the beginning. People, when we used to contact people, they realized what they were doing when we would tell them, hey, everyone in the world can see this if they wanted to. But did anyone see the Amazon CDK, AWS CDK thing that was used to help write the AWS buckets? Yeah, so that the complaint was that they were, yes, it was an easy way of writing them, and yes, there was some security, but it was too standardized in that the naming conventions, you could basically work out the formula, and then you could find them, and also ones that were more sensitive, I think, had more sensitive strings attached to them, and basically try and crack into them. So it's a little bit of a security through obscurity. People were upset that it was so common and easy to understand, because knowledge is power for these hackers, right? If they know what data storage is, they can try and find their way in, particularly as they're not always that public these days.
Oh, so they were able to guess the URL of the S3 bucket. Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
basically guess the location by knowing the exact name, and it actually created an interesting conversation because that happens, and I think they're working to address it now. But naming conventions, like, have you guys seen any fun naming conventions when you were working, like, for different managed service providers? I'm thinking like host names or usernames, and maybe you've got some good examples of ones that are good for security and bad examples of ones for bad security.
So you see a lot of people just using like superhero names.
Yeah, they'll follow like Marvel naming conventions for servers and that, won't they?
Yeah, I've seen ones talking about Game of Thrones, nearest Targaryen, or all those types of names.
Yeah, we're nerds, right? But basically, for those who are trying to follow along, the naming conventions, we're talking about like servers or workstations. They'll usually have a domain name, which, if you're non-inventive, it might be London office, or just London, and then the next name might be the indicator for the web server 1 or primary web server or Windows machine. All of that is giving information that's easy to guess for an attacker, but also reveal some information about that machine that they probably have to work harder for getting. So anyone want to talk about like reconnaissance and why more knowledge equal more power for these hackers?
I mean, if anyone, reconnaissance being the first step in the attack chain, trying to gather information is going to be absolutely vital in order to allow you to move on to the next stages. So if you can identify that an account that's been compromised is a Linux host, or if you're on a web server, that's going to change the steps you take later compared to, one, not knowing what you're on and needing to perform more steps, and just allow your whole operation, so to say, to be a lot more streamlined.
Mm-hmm. So, and Robbie, so is actually that the Daenerys Targaryen naming conventions, or the nerdy ones we guessed, is that better or worse than the kind of the boring London Windows example I gave?
I would say they're better because they're non-typical, aren't they? It's better than just saying like, DC 01 London or London DC 01, and you pretty much know that that's the domain controller in London. So
yeah,
at least if they use some type of arbitrary naming convention that's associated to something like Game of Thrones, then it's going to be way better.
Yeah, so the IT admins probably have a poster in their office, or if they're still in the office, that says Daenerys Targaryen equals cloud data centers, or
it's
Tyrion
code
Lannister.
words, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah. So that's
something small for Tyrion Lannister.
The laptops and tablets.
Yeah, mobile phone. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good point, because you've got to be able to know it. And I think we were talking about here is a bit of security through obscurity, which I'll leave you guys a second to comment on when that is good and when that's not good. But it's something that ideally it'd be even more completely random, but then that's going to be a nightmare for the IT admins to kind of organize and keep track of things. So that's the happy middle ground they often use, finding some code names that are familiar with them. Star Wars is one I always still see. And I've done security for some animation studios, and they used all of their characters for it. I thought that was quite a cool one. I used to enjoy analyzing the logs for that company. So security for obscurity, what does it mean?
What does it mean? I love one of my favorite ever short form posts on our page, and we've got about 800 plus, is your one out in the wild talking about security through obscurity, or maybe it wasn't out in the wild, but the example was anyway.
Oh yeah, maybe. I think I think we've done quite a few of them now. But yeah, trying to hide yourself so no one quite knows where you are. It's a effective security measure until they find out where you are, and then if you've just relied on that, you've got no security. So yeah, was that the one when I was hiding behind a bush or in a cliff or something, really zoomed out, like, here I am?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
Always volley going on.
Yeah, my partner enjoyed filming that one with me. Not, but yeah. So the security obscurity definitely has its place. What we need to mention is that it is not a strategy in itself, right? If you just try and make everything really hard to guess, you think you're safe. Once they guess it or find it, it's just like everyone whacking everything behind a VPN. Once they break your VPN, they've got everything else behind there. So it's part of a defense in depth strategy. Okay. boom, boom. That'll be the big old transition noise that I've got now to let us know we're moving.
Oh, nice. You're doing a little transition noise, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed that. Well, you probably haven't because you do the podcast. So what's the point in listening to them? But I've started putting a few of them in there.
Don't like listening to my own voice at length. It fucking breaks me.
It's painful to edit them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and we're back with the empirical trainers. Actually, AJ, did you want to add your bit about it's happened recently, or do you want to avoid that because it's real?
Well, I was just going to talk about how to actually detect it or respond to it. I thought that maybe that's quite important.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, logging it in the first place.
Well, let me bring you back to. Sorry, I'll just ask the question so it's less disjointed. So, security through obscurity. We kind of started that train of thought by talking about the Amazon S3 buckets that were out there, glaringly obvious for everybody to see. We talked about naming conventions being too easy to guess as well. So, if we need to make sure that they aren't public and that the names aren't easily guessed, how could we go about securing making sure our devs or cloud end architects aren't making those little mistakes which may seem innocent to them in the moment?
Yeah, ultimately in AWS, if you're going to be wanting to log every activity that takes place in the account, and AWS uses CloudTrail. Obviously every cloud provider uses their own login system, but in AWS it's CloudTrail. And then once you've got access to those logs, then you're going to be wanting to search that particular S3 bucket. You want to double check if it is publicly available to the internet. So you're going to be looking out for the setting which is actually switched on and the IPs where they're actually going out to. Usually it's public is 0.0.0/0. And you'll usually try and prevent this. Anytime that a developer might try and do this, you'll want to generate an alert anytime they set any public S3 bucket, because it's not likely that you want to use these often. It does depend on the nature of the business. But then when you do have the events and you have alert has generated to say that there is a public S3 bucket has potentially been accessed, you're going to be looking for specific access events, so get object and list bucket. And then you're going to be checking the IP address in the log to try and determine what they might have done. So there are a few things that you want to be doing to respond to.
Mm-hmm. So that's real practical advice: how to detect when it's happened, and then how to investigate to see what did they get. Is it just the intended people who are accessing it, or have we got a malicious IP who's managed to kind of pull any sensitive data, and what did they pull back? So thanks AJ, always on the front lines. And the speed at which this happens, it kind of really matters. And that's the thing with cloud. People who are scared to get into cloud are usually worried, I feel way more exposed out there. And you kind of are, because the trade-off with cloud is you are asking for super quick efficiencies, be able to access things in a moment, spin things up and down in a moment as well. You gain speed, but the attackers, any benefit you gain, normally the attackers gain as well, and they can find your weaknesses quicker too. So time is really of the essence there, and having a detection like that in place, to catch it when the policy isn't followed is really important, because I think the attackers, with a matter of seconds, they can find exposed secrets on a GitHub, for example, AWS secrets. So it just shows how important it is. AJ, 2015, we started talking about. We saw it all the time back then. That was when people were probably fairly new to the kind of concept S3 buckets. Like we said, it was when AWS made them public by default, so it was more of an innocent mistake. Does it still happen?
It does still happen, yeah. I've seen it with customers this week, really. So it definitely does happen. Mistakes will always happen, and part of that is what keeps us in the job, to be honest, that we have to respond to those mistakes. So yeah, even though they've made changes, like you said, the human error will always prevail. So it keeps us in the job, which is a great thing. But it definitely does happen, and I'm sure it doesn't just happen to the customers I work for. I'm sure there's many other companies it happens for as well. Yeah,
no doubt. That's why we're here. That's why AJ's looking over your environment and your actions. Friendly face, friendly eyes.
The watchman.
Yes. Oh, always watching.
Yeah. Vaughan, you were talking about something interesting, and I don't want to steal your thunder, because I think that's a pretty cool one. Do you want to bring it up?
Yeah, for sure. So there's been some recent news out lately of a Chinese gang that are exploiting certain routers for credential theft and adding them to a botnet. So there's a company or a gang out there dubbed Quad 7 or 777, and what these guys are doing are exploiting TP link routers. Some of you guys listening might have TP links in your house. So if your Wi-Fi, so if your Wi-Fi doesn't reach a certain room and you're trying to get that extended, you can easily purchase TP link routers off places online that will actually connect to your Wi-Fi and extend your range. But what they found that there's a recent exploit in these that allows them to get taken over and for remote code execution to take place. So what happens is the exploit is performed, and then that allows them to perform remote code execution. I won't go into the full attack chain, but what it allows them to do is download a binary that then installs a reverse backdoor on the router, which they can then log into and perform different tasks from there, along with performing extra remote code execution.
What are they doing with this access? They basically take over your TP link, and I'm worried. Actually, we had to check my own TP links because I have some in some places. But what are they using them for? What's the point? Taking over a little tiny Wi-Fi extender.
Yeah, it's a good question, Josh. And it's the same thinking about some of the other IoT devices, things like smart fridges, smart kettles. They all kind of get bundled into the same category in terms of the devices that have internet access that you think aren't really a big issue. But what we're seeing with a lot of these smaller devices that don't typically need to be a computer with a screen, but they are a computer at the end of the day, they're being added to these botnets that are then controlled by a puppet master that can carry out their duties to do whatever you want, right? There's been DDoS attacks that have gone against Microsoft, taking Microsoft down. There's been DDoS attacks against all different types of companies, streamers, content creators, all those sorts of, anyone with a target are typically a target of these botnets. And everyone's in the firing line technically. I can't think of the highest DDoS attack data, Josh. I'm sure we spoke about it before, but
we have, and everybody reports it differently, to be honest. I don't know what that is, but the one I just did a quick search now, and I'm getting 3.8 terabits per second, or terabytes per second. No, that's terabits. 4.2, I see someone else reported.
Yeah, it's a lot in different locations, but huge. Yeah, but you can just think of it. People and actors out there want to be able to perform these DDoS attacks. So when any sort of IoT device becomes vulnerable, such as these TP-Link routers, they're typically captured in a net, almost like a phishing analogy, and added into these botnets to then go and perform whatever actions the threat actor wants.
Yeah. Vaughan, for the non-techie user that has a TP-Link extender in their homes, do they have to go and update the firmware on that device, or is TP-Link the company pushing out a patch?
It's a very good question, and I haven't actually looked into it, but I would definitely recommend trying to get a firmware update on it. I'm not sure how you go about doing that. Maybe it's something we can add into the description of this pod potentially, but there definitely will be a way to update the firmware on there.
How are they getting access then? And how does how does it actually work? How are they getting access?
I'm not sure the specifics. The TP-Link router will be publicly accessible.
Yeah, go on Showdown. See if you can find any.
Yeah, like anything publicly accessible.
But it's just publicly accessible on port 80 and 443 and
wherever port is available on. Someone will be able to log into it, can perform the exploit, because it's providing internet. It obviously has to have internet on it. So typically the gateway in your house is your router, but it's kind of an extension of your router, right? So
just search on YouTube firmware update TP-Link extender, then maybe the model. I don't think you would need the model, but there'll be loads of tutorials on how to connect to the TP-Link extender and update the firmware.
Is it just the extender then, or is it all TP-Link routers?
I'm not sure the specific version number.
You're really grilling him, Andy, aren't you?
Andy, not the vulnerability.
Anyone would think he works for TP-Link, like.
I literally just set one up. Just set up a TP-Link
Have you?
router.
Yeah, I would. I'd take this stance of presumed compromise, and I'd go and
get a new one, mate.
Oh man, we're all compromised. The cybersecurity professionals now. Hopefully not. I did just do a little search on Shodan, just a basic one. I haven't refined it too hard, but looking for TP-Link devices or with that in kind of the headers, and I've got 1,200-ish hits back. So
Lovely.
it's not as many as I was expecting if like every TP-Link was available. So maybe it's not as prevalent as you might think. But actually, I kind of saw your line of questioning, AJ, that you're thinking, are they like getting in range of them with their the range of the Wi-Fi, like driving around, smashing into these TP-Links as they get close to people's houses?
No, I was thinking of like, if they are just scanning the internet and finding these routers, and then they're able, so they don't even have to log into the router interface, right?
Apparently, as long as they can like see the traffic and connect to it, not even logging in, they should be able to perform the exploit.
Okay,
no pre-auth. No pre-auth.
That's terrifying.
Rob, you and I talked on last week about DDoS attacks, because this is what the TP-Link's been used for, about how it's used in ransomware in order to distract or put more pressure on security teams as the ransomware actors kind of do their thing and move about. So I just, the first question is, how spooky is that?
That's pretty damn spooky, man.
That was a fun episode last week. Check it out if you haven't. And we'll give you a chance to add anything else on after this if you want. But I think maybe let's post advice on how to secure that, because we're all going to have to look into our own devices in the school community. So school.com/secops. Is that right, boys? Cybersec.
SecOps is the membership community.
SecOps is the paid one for our mentorship, where we can help you get a cybersecurity job. Managed to get the plug in there out of a mistake. Love it. Okay, nice. Well, actually, now I want to we also want to add in. Okay, that was a news story. We had a lot of good insights there, but also, anyone got any experience? Has anyone kind of heard anything in their security communities or anything that this has actually been affecting their organization?
Yeah, so I've actually had experience with this today. Again, can't go into too much of the specifics, but just reading up on it here as well. AJ, you asked the question. Apparently, it's vulnerable over Telnet, just as a bit of extra information. But yeah, so one of my analysts on my team was performing a bit of a pre-sales deep dive for a customer we have in the pipeline, and part of this pre-sales deep dive, they actually uncovered this quad 7777 threat actor attempting to log into some of this prospective customers' TP-Link devices, which is pretty cool. So, hopefully that pushes them over the line with that sale at the end of the day, and we get another customer on the books to help with their security.
That's the dream when you're running a POC and you can highlight something that's, active and current right now, and you really proven your value right from the get-go. Sometimes you can plug in all of the log sources and nothing really lights up, and you're like, shit, we need to showcase some value, because sometimes no news is good news, but a customer wants some news. They want to see something. They need some activity, some tangible stuff to then say, all right, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, they can keep us secure. They've highlighted X, Y, Z. If there's nothing there, then it's hard.
And that's a conversation that I'm having consistently with our customer success or our business development team, in terms of, especially for threat hunts, like how do you show the value of a threat hunt? Like, surely nothing returned is a good thing. But yeah, exactly like you're saying, Rob, customers want you to go in and you found all of these different hackers in their environment from our threat hunts, but ultimately that means they compromise, which is obviously a bad thing.
So then that's, Rob, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about visibility, but I think we might have to delay that one for next time. But you've kind of planted some nice seeds there of being able to see everything in the environment so you can catch the kind of threat. So should we pick that one up next week, gentlemen?
Oh, you bloody tease.
You're gonna have to tune in next week if you want to listen to us talk about visibility, which on one hand sounds like it's boring, but I promise you it's not. Visibility underpins everything that we do in cybersecurity. What's the maxim, Robbie? If you can't see it,
you can't triage it.
Honestly, it didn't happen.
Kind of works. Yeah. You can't see it, you can't protect it.
See it, say it, analyze it.
No. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time today. hopefully listeners and the chat got some insights out of that. So the cybersecurity information of the week, some real topical stuff there, as well as our own experiences of what it's actually like when you kind of apply these stories into our day-to-day security operations that we all have interactions with. So my name is Josh. We've had AJ, incident response specialist, Vaughan, automation and SOC leader, Robbie, cybersecurity consultant. We are the Empirical Trainers, and if they want to find more of us, who's going to tell them where they can do that?
Are you going to get it right?
School.com/cybersec.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you. We've got to say the last phrase. So let's.
Am I whispering it?
You can say it any which way you want to.
That's a wrap.
Do it again.
That's a wrap.
Thank you. All right. Whirlwind podcast, but I do think that's going to be more effective. Thank you, boys.
Yeah. When did we start? Was it 10 minutes in? So was
Yeah,
it
about
like all
10.
day?
It was. But yeah, I think that's good. And we had like 3 sections. Well, probably 2 segments there. So yeah, maybe that's how we'll do 2 for sure, and then we'll keep 1 in the back pocket, depends on how it goes. But they were good chats. Although bloody hell, Vaughan, you were fighting for your life a bit there, getting all the details up while AJ was asking.
Yeah, it's like I haven't even looked at the incident. I only saw it come across my plate.
I shit my pants. I've only just set one up.
Yeah, I think the login with admin password and update is.
Is that the open VPN that you've done for?
No, I don't know what you're on about.
We have given away a bit. After talking about reconnaissance, we then gave away that some of us had TCP links. So I'm going to go and plug mine from the wall now until I can get it sorted out. But yeah, anyone else in chat? Anything you want from us now? We can stick around for a bit, or we can.
Oh, boys, the podcast is 11 months old. We did our first episode on November the 27th, 2023.
Is it?
What up to one?
Wowzers!
46.
Yeah, we need to. We need to do a pod on the 27th and then do a year reflection and
or something. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
yeah, a year in review could be cool, couldn't it?
Talk about our favorite guests or something.
Yeah, the ones we deleted.
I like that. yeah. I actually really liked the Ryan Thompson.
Yeah,
pod.
he's a great guy.
So
Oh, yeah, they were great, weren't they?
it gutted that we had to delete that.
Yeah, Denz, you've been here longer than a year. Look what I got on my desk. Hang on.
Maybe we need a Patreon and we can put that Ryan one back up.
I reckon Patrons, you get to subscribe to This Is What Day One Denz looks like.
Oh, cheeky.
That's Denz and I when we second time we met up. So that's even longer than a year ago, Denz. Is it? That's mad. I won't put it out.
Denz is the OG. He's been following us since time began.
Yep.
Since the dawn of time.
Whatever happened to that?
Empirical before we was.
Yeah,
he came up with the idea.
Yeah, he did actually give us a review before we'd even started really doing anything. And I looked back on it the other day, and I was like, he's kind of advertised what we do now. So like, Denz understood the vision from day one.
Yeah,
day one.
Yeah, we'll have to give you some nominal shares, mate, at some point.
The master man has a face. He does, but that was a pretty mysterious. Natasha, if you actually search in the school, I did post that picture once. Maybe I'll post it again in the gold. Denz, if you mind, to DM me, because fair enough. But I think
we've got any cues.
Interestingly, views have rocked up a bit now that we've kind of finished the podcast. So anybody who's new here, you want to ask us a question? Last chance.
We got E's for them cues.
Yeah, speak now. What is your mic? Was your mic on before, AJ?
Maybe I was just too far away.
I don't know. It sounded like it was echoing a little bit, and I wasn't sure whether it was going through your camera or not. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah. When you got talked over, we couldn't hear you.
It was coming through my camera. I don't know why though. It's not picking up.
Oh, it's not registering. Yeah, I thought it was. I did.
Yeah.
Bye. He just got hacked by the TP Link attackers.
TV link.
Oh, fucking hell, they've got him, Mike.
777 are in.
Oh, mate. Yeah, it was coming
This
through my
is
Mac.
Squad 777.
It was coming through my Mac.
Oh, now we got
Oh,
No,
I thought it sounded a bit off.
yeah, it did sound a bit off. Yeah, never
And now my
mind.
camera. Somebody's fucking hacked my router already, mate.
Yeah, TV link.
I can't even put my camera back on now. Fucking hell.
My webcam keeps defaulting to either 720p or 1080.
rather
You
than
said it was
how
okay.
to-
16 out of new. Does it like is it the one
Yeah.
that follows you?
Yeah, I think you have to like do that and then.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it'll chase.
What?
It'll follow you around. Yeah.
What the hell?
And I don't know how to stop it then. As you do that again, it stops.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Careful with that hand gesture. We need to do an episode where you and AJ just stroll across side by side, like hands behind your back, like
just slowly, just keep moving.
yeah, like imitation
I-
game.
I can't even put my camera back on now. Never
Josh,
mind.
I've seen the little snaps
dear.
you put of Robbie in the top right thumbnail of the. But you've got one of Robbie now, just going like this.
The Easter egg.
Is it?
Yeah, you might Easter egg, Rob. It was. I
That's
tried
hilarious.
to cut pictures out for everybody, and the funny thing was that yours just came back just your head, and it kept coming back just your head. And I was like, oh well, screw this. I'll use because you've got that really nice polished one, so I used that. And if you look at the Halloween one, I turned you into a spider.
Yeah,
Bonus. You saw that one.
Ah,
Bonus.
yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
Bonus spider. Bonus Robbie the spider.
Well, this is on like the thumbnail, is it?
yeah.
Let me show it to you. I'll do it massive as well.
Yeah, go on then.
Look, this is where he loses his head with me and kicks off massively because I've been mugging him off gently for the last 4 months.
I can't even see this. Where is this? Or is it on the feed? Is it?
Here you are. I've got it in paint.
Any cues in the chat?
Last call for some cues.
Yeah, where them cues at? Yeah, I can't even see it on the empirical page now.
Oh no! The infinite.
Oh,
Stream
Inception.
Here you are. So obviously, this is quite big. On the thumbnail, you can't really notice. I don't know if I can zoom in or out.
Spooky stories.
And you can't really see, but you are a spider.
Oh yeah, I'm a spider. Yeah.
I didn't put too much effort into it, I have to say, because I know that most people can't see it.
That's hilarious.
And while we're here, AJ, I shared again our picture when we won the best dressed in the Security Operations Center for Halloween.
Oh yeah, that was Halloween like 5 years ago.
Yeah. If Robbie and Vaughan can remember what we dressed as, I don't know, some
Yeah, I know
surprise. You know
Yeah,
it?
I know it. Yeah.
What did you go as?
Oh,
Kiss,
yeah.
was it?
Not quite. That wasn't the best impression, to be fair. How about, let me try this. You bought me a gun rack? I don't even own a gun, yet alone a bunch of guns to necessitate a rack.
I don't think
I
that's
still
one of the
don't know.
well-known lines, is it? There must be.
That's my favorite one, though. No, it's party time. Excellent. Diddle-diddle-diddle-doo.
You're gonna,
I still don't know.
you're gonna have to- it starts with a W and ends
I
with
don't
world.
watch very many. Wayne's World.
Yeah, it is world, yeah.
Yeah, Wayne's
There you
World.
go.
Josh had the hair at the time, so I had to put a wig on though.
Yeah, I lost the. Yeah, I made AJ actually buy things for the outfit, whereas I just wore my clothes and
He
put
just
a hat on.
dressed up and put a hat on, yeah.
Class.
I remember in the meeting, we were in that whole company meeting in the US, and the people in the front were like looking at us like, are they normal employees? Are they dressed up? Because not many people were dressed up. It was like 3 people in the whole office, and it was me and Josh that kind of looked like we were normal, but not.
Yeah, it wasn't hugely different from what I used to wear. Anyway, Robbie, what did your card say to me on my birthday when you wrote in it? You remember?
I can't remember. I know something nasty, wasn't it?
It was just you look so homeless or something. You look like
You look like you
sleep
slept on a couch. You should try to utilize the rest of your house.
I used to get the homeless jokes a lot back then.
You were actually sleeping on our floor as well, so that's kind of right.
Yeah, I didn't tell Robbie that at the time. So you guys, do anything to get your first job, first cybersecurity role. Do anything. Take the salary.
That comment hit hard then.
But to be fair, it was a really nice. I had a good friend of mine would make the bed every night just before.
You'd have a dog bed on the floor.
Yeah, he'd make stack a few blankets down, a little sleeping bag. It's actually really nice.
He said it was going to be for 1 month. It was 6 months.
Well, I actually did have a place to stay as well. My auntie lived in the same city as well, and she had a whole room for me in a very nice house. It just didn't have Wi-Fi, and it just wasn't as good crack as staying with.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, and I didn't use this high school Wi-Fi next to me. With the
of course, never. Yeah.
Never.
Go do a hacker man, cracking out wet WPA2.
Oh, we actually had a question.
Yeah, I'm in. Well, this is where Robbie tells them to listen to episode 1 to 4 of the podcast.
Yeah, not going to tell you.
But we could definitely answer it. But if you do want to hear like 30, 40 minutes of us taking you step by step, then definitely go back to episode 1 on YouTube, CyberSpace podcast. But yeah, who wants to do a little? It's good practice for the things we're recording this week, actually, gents.
I went to uni, did business and IT. It didn't have much it didn't have any cybersecurity. Little networking module. They taught me about Google hacking. I thought it was sick. Created a penetration testing report for a small company that I used to work for. Used that as my project. Started applying for cybersecurity analyst jobs. Boom. That's me.
Nice.
Wow.
Speed running them.
That is a speed run. Go on, then, Vaughan, you go.
Yeah. I mean, started off playing games, hacking games. It got interested in cybersecurity. Went to university, did a cybersecurity degree. Couldn't get a job. Had help of my university mentor, and then ended up getting my first job at the same company as these lovely chaps.
Mm-hmm. And that's our evil origin story, where we all met together at slightly different times. Although actually, Vaughan, you never met AJ. Always
no, we never officially met in person until your wedding day.
Yeah, and AJ wasn't at the company when I joined. Neither was Robbie. It was just yourself, Josh. And then the second company I went to, Robbie was there. So that's when I met Robbie.
Well, Robbie should have been your leader at the time. Absolutely robbed. Rob, you want to go next?
I was robbed, yeah. I was playing football in uni, and then I was a waste of space for about 3 or 4 years. And then I was at a dinner with somebody who was working in cybersecurity, and they said, "You'd be good at cybersecurity. Do you fancy it?" I went, I have no idea what you're on about, but it sounds good. Sign me up. And then it was about 10 months of learning and checking in with this person who mentored me. And then I was lucky enough to get an interview, and I got an interview and jumped into the same team as AJ.
Nice. So along that mentorship path, AJ was, I guess, my cybersecurity mentor. We've actually known each other for a long time. I won't say more than that. But I'd done a law degree. I'd done a master's, and I was going down the career of becoming a solicitor, doing some advocacy stuff. And I just became quite disillusioned with it. There's a lot of people trying to be lawyers. There's a lot of crap you have to go through. And the parts I found really interesting was cybersecurity. When I did my international law, conflict and strategy module, we did one session on cybersecurity, and it basically was, here are cyber attacks. Here's why we can't police them, why we can't attribute the people and take them to court and punish them. This was some years back. We're getting a little better at that now. But I kept saying to Andy, "Oh, I love that. Oh, I love what you're doing. That's so cool. Cybersecurity is awesome." I think I was his biggest cheerleader when he started getting it. And then he starts going to me, "You could do this, you know." And I thought he was just being nice and polite, but he kept saying, "No, you can do this. You can do this." So I had a bit of tech affinity. Used to design some websites with my father as a kid, and he gave me loads of materials to study. And yeah, eventually managed to get an interview at the same place as these guys, and managed to get an entry-level job and sit next to Robbie on day one as my next mentor. So yeah, we've mentored each other, and that's why we're doing this today, to kind of help mentor anyone else who wants to get into cybersecurity, because it's worked out pretty well for us, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I always have to mention my university lecturer pushed me towards doing my penetration testing report and gave me a lot of knowledge there. So he was a big mentor for me as well, and that's what we're trying to give back. So Yamin, if you're interested, come and join us in school.
Yes, we'll see you there. There is a Yamin already in our school community. It's not the same one, is it?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think they're already in there.
Well done. We did that in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. How we go into cybersecurity?
There you go.
Could have saved the listeners bloody 4 hours of us talking.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we're doing shorter podcasts now.
Yeah.
It is Yamin from the community.
Nice.
Yeah, I can just hear people listening to those first 4 episodes. Like, "Got to the chase."
Yeah. When did you?
How did
what
you
do?
do? I was like, yes, I was playing football. It just wasn't working out. And
now they're going to listen to the 47th podcast and hear it in 4 minutes 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is getting cut. This is getting cut.
Yeah, this is part of the pod.
Oh, this is just for the livers.
Actually, I might make a little 5-minute YouTube video. Why not?
Why
You
not?
could even slap it as a short or something like us, just giving a quick roundup.
Yeah, someone's been telling me that longer shorts are doing well, or longer like short form, but none of mine have. When I've done done the longer form ones, they seem to like the minute long still, but the algorithm giveth and taketh away. I don't try to get too stressed about it.
It's so random, isn't it? That meme that you posted a few days ago is booting off now as well. The IT one.
Yeah, it is.
Which one's that?
Picking up some traction just out of nowhere.
Oh, the
Don't test me on it. Don't test me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, installing malware on a Friday. Is it that one?
Yeah. It's
I
just
love that
randomly booting off.
Somebody actually commented on that and said that I shouldn't be victim shaming the people clicking on phishing emails. And I just replied. I just replied and just said, well, cybersecurity has to be the concern of employees as well. And I don't know if he replied after that.
Victim shame, fucking yeah.
Yeah,
that needs a ban.
Poor me.
We should stop banning people that say shit like that.
I mean,
Next time we just comment saying you're banned, bud.
I do see the point though. You don't want people to be too scared to tell us, because we always talk about that. We want people to say, "I messed up." That's fine. We're still going to make fun of you in a meme. That's fine as well.
Yeah. It's coming clean in there. Like we had, funny enough, I think I've spoken about this before, but at my company a couple of weeks ago, I used to do like Friday quizzes for my team, just being like, some really heavily encoded base 64 string, like linked to malware. I'd be like, right, here's the encoded string. Create a CyberSpace recipe and tell me what the domain is that's being contacted. Just as like a nice little Friday switch up a little bit. Like
so most people go to the pub, Vaughan.
Yeah, but we're cool.
And those in the community, because I've seen Michael's been doing some of those.
They're good.
Yeah, he is actually. But it was pulled from live malware because I've got like a TI repo that I dabble into just to read some stuff. But end up sharing it with the engineers because they were interested in it as well. And one of them was trying to decode it through the command line. And ended up actually, after decoding it, running the fucker on his machine. And it's lucky we had Microsoft Defender in place because all the alarm bells started going off. We had like loads of malware incidents popping off.
I got no time for that.
It got blocked, luckily. But it just goes to show that, complacency can lead to some pretty bad things.
That's a fantastic story.
That is a good story. I'm halfway through writing a post in the community about link sanitization, the importance of it, and I'm now going to tag you at the end of it. And
I could drop this in again. But it's safe to say since then I've been told I can't do my Friday challenges anymore.
Sanitize it. Sanitize the link. Well, I guess it's more effort. But
I got to decode it myself then first.
I know it's in there somehow. What's the? You're one of those kind of guys. So any clues, Vaughan? Believe.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Think it into existence.
We've got a minute. 1 minute on, is blue team easier than red team or both the same? I'd say blue team's easier to get into, but that's all I'll say.
Yeah, blue team's easy to get into to start with, but I actually think it's harder because you have to detect everything. But as a red team, you can just be right once.
I agree. red teams, you're not going to get in trouble for the red team for, oh, you missed this attack. You know, they expect you to miss something. If you're a blue team, you miss something, not in trouble. That's the wrong word. Sorry, I'm victim shaming, blaming you now, Andy, and your instant response team. But yeah, it's more visible.
The mistakes aren't as impactful when you're in red
I
team
mean, going to
because
blue team is so much better.
Yeah.
And then you can go to red team after as well.
Yeah,
if you want to book in
a
pathway call, mate, then follow the links in school or DM us.
Purple team.
Yeah, we're actually looking to hire a purple team analyst. At the moment.
That's the future, apparently. But
like,
did you just do this?
I was. Is that Illuminati or something? I thought this was purple behind me. I was trying to like bring it in.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get some Illuminati comments now, and now we're gonna be all over.
I hate the pen testing, yeah, man. That's interesting. I quite enjoy my pen testing module. But like pen testing, like the attacks that you do on blue team, you just need to know what the attacks are and be able to catch and defend them. That the sign of a good blue team analyst is understanding the red team side of things. So just bear that in mind as well.
There's a veteran red team guy. I forget his name, but he's brilliant. So I'll try and drop him in the school when I remember. Who says the only reason red team exists is to make the blue team better. And so whenever they're like, "Oh, your job's more glamorous," he's like, "No, it's not. I'm the cheerleader for these guys." And I think that's a great attitude.
Yeah, that's how we think about it.
Yeah, because like I've been in companies before where the red team is always like have that culture of trying to like trip people up and catch the blue team out and make them look silly, like, oh, you know, your defenses weren't good enough, we was able to bypass you and all this. And that's quite a toxic culture, if I do say so myself. So Josh, to you, that red team guy has that mentality is, yeah, breath fresh air, really.
Nice. So end credits roll. High School Musical, we're all in this together plays, and we wind down the live session. Thank you, boys. Thank you, audience. Always appreciate you seeing. Yeah, I mean, thanks for stopping by and engaging with us this time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Day one, the day twos. Natasha, that's probably you. Thank you all for coming, and anyone else who's dropped by and couldn't stay for too long. It was great to see you for that time as well. So, good night, boys.
Good night. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.